That's all you want? Just my name? Okay. My name is Noel Reck.
And what brought you out to the rally today?
Well, it's obvious what the Republicans are up to. It's been obvious for several years. The Bush administration was a complete farce, and the new Republicans have just jumped right on board there, and they're determined to take away people's rights. They're never satisfied. They want the money. They want to take rights away from people. And I've just added, enough is enough.
There are people that disagree with your position. What message would you impart to them?
Well, I tell you what, you're next. You know, after they're done trying to get things away from the public workers, they're going to go after the private workers next. Again, they're never satisfied. And private workers out there, whatever wages you make right now, you have unions to thank for that. What the unions were able to provide, the private sector has to keep up with. So if the public sector pays the price, you are too, sooner or later.
What would you say if you were given the opportunity to conservatives like Governor Walker?
Just be fair. Do the right thing. I mean, the unions were willing to give you the monetary concessions that you wanted. But again, you've overreached now. You wanted to take away people's basic rights that have been fought for many, many years. But it's going to backfire on them. They're going to get recalled. The American people are going to see what these folks are up to once and for all.
Patty Lampman.
And what brought you down here today?
I am supporting the military. I'm a retired service member, and I'm about protecting veteran benefits.
Perfect. And if you had the opportunity to sit with Governor Walker in a room and conservatives who have like mindset, what would you say to them?
Can't take away the people's rights.
And why do you think that those conservatives have targeted the working class and unions?
Because they can.
And
we allow them to.
how do you feel about Obama and other legislatures' absence from these rallies?
Well, I know President Obama is probably dealing with a lot bigger things, and so I can appreciate that he has a job to do, but I think the people that represent this town ought to be here.
And last one is, why is it important for Colorado to stand with Wisconsin?
Because we're a state of working people, and I think we need to stand firm on the workers' rights.
All right. All right, so I'm just going to have you say your name.
My name is John Beaver.
And if you had the opportunity to be in a room with governors or with conservatives like Governor Walker, what would you say to them?
I'd ask him whose payroll he was on. It's obviously not the people of Wisconsin.
Okay. And why do you think that conservatives have targeted the working force and unions?
Why do I think they've targeted the working poor?
The working force and unions, the middle class and unions.
Oh, because they're going after all the money they can get, and if there's a few people left with some, they want that too.
And if you could say anything to the 14 Democrats who held out in Wisconsin, what would you say?
That a boy, you know. They have my support, so anyway, thanks.
All right. So the first thing I'm going to have you say is just your name.
My name's Ellen Buckley.
And Ellen, what brought you out here? What brought you out here today?
The Republican war. Is it not?
Do that. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The Republican war on women and workers and the environment. We middle class people have to stand up and say enough is enough, and we're not going to tolerate them destroying years of what we've worked for.
And how will the Republicans' budget cuts affect you?
Well, it's not just, well, as a woman, if I needed to go to Planned Parenthood, they want to cut the funding for Planned Parenthood. I won't be able to do that anymore. Their budget cuts, they want to destroy the EPA, basically, through budget cuts. So the air I breathe and the water I drink will be filthy because no one will be protecting us from corporations who, as we know, aren't looking out for the best interests of you and me. They're looking out for their bottom line.
And if you had the opportunity to be in a room with conservatives like Governor Walker, what would you say to them?
It's not something you should ask me. I would say you were not elected to represent the Koch brothers. You were elected to represent the entire people of Wisconsin or wherever, and you need to stop pandering to corporations and start standing up for what matters, which is the people.
Perfect. Thank you very much. The first thing I'm going to have you do is just say your name.
Okay. Right now? Okay. Okay, my name is Michelle Duncan, and I'm from Colorado Springs.
And what brought you out here today?
Move On. I'm a member of a Move On Council in Colorado Springs.
And how will the Republicans' budget cuts affect you?
They affect me as an everyday American. I sub in the schools. I see what happens to teachers. I see us losing our democracy. So whenever that affects democratic principle, it affects us all.
And there are people that would disagree with your position. What message would you send home to them?
Open your eyes and hear the truth and look around you. Follow the money. Who has the biggest interest in keeping us divided? Follow that and you'll get your answer.
And if you could have the 14 Democrats who held out in Wisconsin in a room, what would you say to them?
You are great Americans, and thank you very much for having the courage of your convictions to do what you do.
And if you had to walk away with one message today, what would that be?
The message is that thanks to Scott Walker, a sleeping giant has been awakened. Thank you, Scott Walker.
By saying your name?
My name's Ron Booth.
And what brought you out here today?
Well, For a long time, I've stood on the side of the average worker, the average American, and against what's been decades now of corporations just gobbling up everything and doing it on the backs of average working Americans whose wages and benefits have remained flat or even been diminished over the last few decades. And while we average Americans experience flat wages and reduced benefits, the corporations or the CEOs, the CFOs, upper and middle management are raking in all the benefits, and their wages and benefits just continue to soar.
And why do you think it's important that Colorado stands with Wisconsin right now?
Well, Colorado for a long time has been at the forefront of environmental protections, which doesn't directly relate to the protection of workers' rights, but workers' rights anywhere affect workers' rights everywhere. One state falls, then another, and I think it's just a dangerous and illegal precedent that's being set in Wisconsin right now by the governor.
And so if you had an opportunity to be in the room with the 14 Democrats that held out in Wisconsin, what would you say to them?
I'd give them my wholehearted thanks. They've been derided by a lot of people as being flea baggers. The way I see it, they had only one card left to play to try to stop the illegal actions of the governor of Wisconsin, and they used the only avenue open to them. Obviously, for those of us who support workers' rights, it was a very popular and much appreciated move. For those who have no appreciation, obviously they were derided for their brave actions.
My name is Jan Embry Beaver.
And what brought you out here today?
Complete and utter frustration about what's going on in our country.
And how will the Republicans' budget cuts affect you?
Well, you know, the interesting thing is I'm retired, and so I think for the effect of me personally, I think it's probably fairly minimal. Maybe. I'm not trusting that even maybe that's true anymore. But I think for my children, for my grandkids, for the people I know, I mean, everybody else we know, I think is going to be heavily impacted. They're going after the middle class. We are the middle class. Anything they want to cut the middle class. Anything they want to take all the power away from the middle class. And I'm sick of it. I'm just completely sick of it.
And why is it important, do you think, that Colorado stands with Wisconsin?
Well, I think it's become clearer and clearer. It's just sort of like the global economy is here. We have to look across our country. We have to recognize that what impacts Wisconsin also affects us. If they think they can get by within Wisconsin, they've actually been trying in Colorado. As a state, I was a former state employee, I'm retired. And they've been going after state employees ever since I retired, and that's 10 years. So this is, it's clear to me that they'll just keep it up if they think they can win.
And what message?
I like it.
What message should people walk away with?
The message is that people do have some power. I think people have been really passive, and including myself. And it's time we have to take it back. I mean, we just don't have a choice.